everybody! It's a Dead Time Radio program. I'm Billy. I'm with my buddy Don. Hi, Don.
Hello.
And it is yet another episode.
First episode after our year.
Yeah, we only have 3 episodes left after this, and our season is over.
What?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. Wow.
We couldn't do it without our wonderful listeners.
Thank you.
There are actually people listening to us.
Yeah.
Some
super cool.
They like to share in our madness.
Yeah.
And I like to share my madness with them.
You know, people like weird whether they want to admit they like weird or not.
Right.
Because they're weird.
I mean, we're openly weird.
Totally.
And I think that's really cool. But I really got to say how much I love our listeners. And there are so many cool people that come up and tell us stories, people that we work with that listen to our show. And they tell us cool stories. And they need to send them in an email so I can read them to the other listeners around the world. So if you wanted... You love the segues. I'm so good at doing that.
That was awesome. Now. I think we need to tell the stories. I don't know if she's going to write in.
No, I can't tell the stories. I want
Billy.
her to... I'm going to bug her and tell her all about it and say, send me the story. I will tell the story about Tyler, though. Tyler... His story was cool. He was listening to one of our shows. He was listening to the show where we did the EVPs at where we work.
The 13th episode.
Right. And he was listening to the part where our little buddy Nicole was telling us about the guy that died outside. And then that ghostly voice that said he drove a white truck. And he said he was out driving from Columbia, South Carolina, back down to Charleston. And it was in the middle of the night, and there was nobody else on the road except him because it was late at night. And he said out of nowhere, a white truck came zooming past him, probably going about 100 miles an hour. And he said it just zipped right past him, and he was like, it scared him for a second because it went by so fast. And then he said it just was gone. It was like the coolest story ever.
It disappeared.
So tell us stories like that.
Yeah,
those
I was
are cool stories.
Oh my God, that's the coolest thing ever.
And you can send us stories and emails at thedeadtimeradio@gmail.com. I haven't heard anything from our friend Cassie. I'm hoping that she's doing all right. She had some really cool stories, and that was an awesome email about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
So I hope she's still listening. I hope you're enjoying the show. And everybody, we want to thank you guys. We couldn't really do this without you, and that's the coolest part.
It's true.
If you want to help us out a little bit and maybe donate, you could always go to thedeadtimeradioshow.com, click on the button that says Become a Patron, and yeah. That's all up to you. We're not begging. We're just asking if you feel like it, do it. If you like what you're hearing. I'm getting good at those segues.
Totally.
All right. So tonight's episode is going to be a cool one. Tonight we're talking about White House ghost stories. Yes. Dawn just watched a really cool show.
Oh my God, it was so cool.
And it was all about a demon in the White House.
Mm-hmm. You got to watch it.
I started to watch it and fell asleep on the couch because that's how lame I am.
Well, I told him everything before he watched it anyway. So
Yeah. I got my phone blew up. She was like, "Oh my God, I got to do a show on it." I was like, "All right."
We had something else planned, but I was like, "This is too cool." Everybody wants to know about the White House.
Right.
Everybody wants to know. Okay, I don't even know if you know that there's ghosts in the White House.
Dude, that place is definitely
ton
haunted.
Of ghosts in the White House.
That place is definitely haunted.
Yeah, and they're saying that every time a new president comes in, they remodel because it's your house. It's going to be your house, right?
And every time
you rile it up, right?
They get all wrong.
Just like in any old house.
Of course, there's ghosts there. There's so much psychic energy that goes on in that place. The decisions that have to be made by the leader of this country. I'm sure that energy just balls itself up and sits in a corner.
Well, that's what I was talking to Eric about. Like, the amount of negativity aimed at the White House. Like, people are standing outside, just shooting their negative energy into the White House.
And literally shooting at the White House.
Like, right. So, I know, but the protests. And the on the lawns and, breaking in. All the negative energy is at this one house.
Yep.
So, you move into that.
And it has
to be a manifest.
And there's been shit tons of tragedy in that house. So
correct.
It's crazy. And we're going to read some of those stories tonight because we find that stuff really cool.
You better not have an 11-year-old or they're going to die because 2 of them's already died in there.
They're going to die.
They're going to die.
I like when she gets all southern. They're going to die. So, yeah, I like it. We're hooked on ghost story stuff just because we have had so much fun doing our little investigations and stuff that we actually created our own little group. It's called the South Carolina Organization of Paranormal Exploration. And we are going to be doing some more studies really soon, and we're going to share them with you if we get any cool shit.
We actually have one booked for April. I'm super excited about
Yes.
that one.
We are booked for April, and then we have a couple here in town that we're trying to get working out.
Yeah.
So stay tuned because we might have some cool stuff. I know there's some of our friends who don't like scary stuff, but
they don't listen anyway.
Right. We tease them. They're
All the
like,
time.
I'm not listening to that story because it's scary. I'm like, whatever. You're so fucking cute.
You do say that. Like every day.
Yeah. So here, this one is whitehousehistory.org, and this is White House Ghost Stories. In 1862 to 1863, Mary Todd Lincoln, grieving over her son Willie's death in February, began to participate in spirit circles or seances in the Red Room at the White House. The Red Room. That's just a scary thing in itself. Red Room.
Right?
It's at the White House and the presidential cottage at the Soldiers' Home. Spiritualism was wildly popular during the height of the Civil War as families sought comfort for the loss of loved ones.
Yeah.
1901 to 1904, Jeremiah Jerry Smith started working at the White House during the Ulysses S. Grant administration in the late 1860s as a footman and served as a footman, butler, cook, doorman, and official duster until his retirement approximately 35 years later. A duster.
I'd like to be a duster.
Actually walk around the White House and dust. That's your job. He probably gets paid $70,000 a year.
Can you imagine the stuff that man hears?
To be an official duster. Wow. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Well, he's all the things.
Yeah.
He's a footman, butler, cook, doorman, and a duster.
Right.
So.
Oh, I'm sure he heard lots of shit.
Wow. Because you don't even see those people. It's like, I know this is horrible, but like cleaning people, they hear all kind of crap.
Oh, yeah.
We had 2 cleaning ladies, and I hope they're listening. You know, they hear some stuff.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
So.
A popular character and storyteller, reporters could always count on Smith on a slow news day. He claimed to have seen the ghosts of Lincoln, Grant, McKinley, and several first ladies. 1911, one little-known spirit is the unidentified 15-year-old boy called The Thing that greatly frightened the Taft domestic staff in 1911. President Taft's military aide, Major Archibald Butt, wrote to his sister Clara, "The ghost, it seems, is a young boy about 14 or 15 years old. They say that the first knowledge one has of the presence of the thing is a slight pressure on the shoulder as if someone were leaning over your shoulder to see what you might be doing." President Taft ordered Butt to tell the White House staff that the first member to repeat stories about the thing would be fired.
What? You couldn't even talk about it.
Mr. Butt,
ooh,
if you tell anybody,
kick your
I'm
butt.
firing your butt.
Kick your butt.
So, ghost lore and sightings. Abraham Lincoln appears in the Lincoln bedroom in Yellow Oval Room. First Lady Grace Coolidge, Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands claim to have seen Lincoln.
Yeah. They say they see him on the stairs. They see him in his bedroom.
Yeah.
I think there's a bedroom that still no one has touched, and it's Abraham Lincoln's bedroom.
Yeah. Dude, you know how much I would love to see that?
Just to take a tour.
Oh,
like,
my
they don't do
God.
it anymore because of COVID and all that stuff.
Because Lincoln is one of my favorite presidents.
Yeah.
He was such a phenomenal character.
Yeah.
Willie Lincoln, who died in the White House, was seen in the White House by staff members of the Grant administration in the 1870s.
That was his 11-year-old son.
Right.
So the first one it was talking about, that one was also 11 years old. They were driving a train back, or that actually they were going to the White House.
Yeah.
The wife did not want him to be the president. Didn't want him to be any
that was,
part of
that
any.
was Pierce.
Pierce. Is
Franklin
that what it
Pierce.
says?
No, that's Willie Lincoln. Willie Lincoln is Abraham Lincoln's son.
Okay.
Andrew Jackson, supposedly lying in his bed in the Queen's bedroom, which is the Rose Room, lets out a guttural laugh that has been heard in the White House since the 1860s. Mary Todd Lincoln claimed to have heard Jackson stomping and swearing.
Ooh.
Thomas Jefferson plays his violin in the Yellow Oval Room.
Ooh.
Dolly Madison protects the Rose Garden. No, Dolly Madison is not the snack cake maker.
What?
Just in case you were wondering.
I wasn't wondering.
Dolly Madison was the the wife of President James Madison.
Cool.
John Tyler haunts the Blue Room, proposing to Julia Gardner, his second wife. Wow.
So there are different rooms. There's a yellow room, a blue room.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. William Henry Harrison haunts the attic. He was the first president to die in the White House.
Ooh. Why would he be up there?
Do you know what he died of?
They put his shit up there? That's why he's up there?
I don't know.
Consumption?
No. He died of pneumonia.
Penile pneumonia.
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 Yeah.
That sucks.
Abigail Adams hung laundry in
So
the
they
East
probably
Room.
heard him coughing.
Right. Hung laundry in the East Room, and contemporary staff can smell wet laundry and the scent of lavender.
Ooh,
Wow.
I like lavender.
Unnamed British soldier. An unnamed British soldier who perished during the War of 1812 roams the White House grounds holding a torch. Do you know why he's holding a torch?
Because they didn't have electricity.
No, because they burned the White House down during the War of 1812.
What?
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. Do you know who saved all the paintings for the White House?
No.
Abigail Adams. No, Dolly Madison. It was Dolly Madison. James
So
Madison's
she's
wife.
the one that with the rose garden.
Right.
The
James
Rose Garden
Madison's
ghost
wife
saved all
is the
the
one
portraits.
that saved all the photos of all the other presidents in the White House when it was burning.
Those are heavy. Like how she was carrying them out
Right.
herself?
No, she didn't pick them all up by herself.
Well, you just
But
said
she
she
had the
single-handedly.
staff. Well, she single-handedly got the staff to
Told
fucking
Johnny
save
to
that
get
shit.
your fucking shits
Get
off the wall.
Fuck everything else. Get them pictures. Yeah.
Grab your kids, grab your wife,
That's right.
grab the paint.
Fuck your kids. Grab that painting. That's George Washington. Get that painting in the truck.
Get in there.
David Burns. David Burns owned the land on which the White House now stands. He has been seen or heard in the Yellow Oval Room. Anna Serrat. Do you know who that is?
Mr. Serrat's wife.
Anna Serrat is the daughter of, I can't remember her first name, but the Serrat lady that was hanged for being complicit and part of an accessory to murder of Abraham Lincoln.
What?
Because that was John Wilkes Booth's friend. They owned an inn,
Oh.
and she was a conspirator on Lincoln's assassination.
Oh.
So Anna Serrat bangs on the doors of the White House pleading to see President Andrew Johnson. She was there to beg for a pardon for her mother, Lincoln assassination conspirator Mary Serrat.
Oh.
Andrew Johnson was the vice president under Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, so he was then president.
Correct.
Gotcha. So that means that they didn't do it.
No, she probably did it. But there was a lot of evidence
like,
that she was part of
what balls
it.
would that be for you to walk up there?
But, you know, it's your mom.
Yeah, but it's the government.
It's your mom.
They
Well, back
could
in those
plan
days,
anything.
the White House didn't have that fence and all that stuff. Back in those days,
Oh.
there's actual
You just
stories
walk up to the
of.
door?
I think it was Madison or Adams. But there used to be parties in the White House. People would just walk in there,
What?
like their normal civilian could just walk up into the White House and start chatting with the prez.
No way, man.
Yeah, but you
Not
know,
today.
that shit got a little creepy. I'm sure a few times people would go in there and steal shit too. Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, yeah.
Fucking humans suck. All right, ghosts of Abigail Adams and David Burns. Abigail Adams and her husband John, the second president of the United States, moved to the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue from the former U.S. Capitol in Philadelphia. Adams was the second president. At the time, Washington, D.C. was still just a town built mostly on swampy land on the banks of the Potomac River. Because the East Room of the new White House was the warmest and driest, Abigail used it to hang the wash. Her ghost, clad in a cap and lace shawl, has reportedly been seen heading towards the East Room, arms outstretched as if carrying laundry.
Cool. She's still doing it.
Yeah. A lesser-known early White House personality who has been said to haunt its halls was David Burns, who sold the government most of the land on which the city of Washington, including the presidential residence, was built. Lillian Rogers Parks, a seamstress who chronicled her 30-year working at the White House in a 1961 memoir, told the story of a valet to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who reportedly heard a disembodied voice coming from a distance in the Yellow Oval Room saying, "I'm Mr. Burns."
Ooh.
During Harry S. Truman's administration, a guard heard a similar voice, thinking it was then Secretary of State James Burns. He went looking for him, only to learn that the secretary hadn't been at the White House that day.
Ew.
Andrew
Creepy.
Jackson and Harry Truman's ghosts. In 1824, Andrew Old Hickory Jackson was defeated by John Quincy Adams in one of the most contentious presidential elections in history. Elected president 4 years later, the surly Jackson continued to hold grudges against those who had supported his opponent. In the early 1860s, First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln, who believed strongly in the occult and reportedly held seances in the White House to commune with the spirits of her dead sons, told friends she had heard Jackson stomping and swearing through the halls of the presidential residence. The Rose Room, Jackson's bedchamber while he was president, is believed by some to be one of the most haunted rooms in the White House.
Ooh.
Jackson's ghostly presence has also showed up in the White House correspondence of Harry Truman, America's 33rd president, in June 1945. Just 2 months into his first term, Truman wrote to his wife, Bess, of the spooky quality of his new residence. I sit here in this old house and work on foreign affairs, read reports, and work on speeches, all the while listening to the ghosts walk up and down the hallway, and even right here in the study. The floors pop and the drapes move back and forth. I can just imagine old Andy and Teddy having an argument over Franklin.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
The ghost of Abraham Lincoln. By far the most frequently reported sighting in the White House over the years has been the ghosts, or at least the presence, of the celebrated 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, whose life was cut tragically short by an assassin's bullet in 1865. Grace Coolidge, wife of President Calvin Coolidge, was the first person to say she had actually seen Lincoln's ghost. According to her, the lanky former president was standing looking out a window of the Oval Office across the Potomac to the former Civil War battlefields beyond. Lady Bird Johnson, wife of President Lyndon Johnson, reportedly felt Lincoln's presence one night while watching a television program about his death. Most notably, sightings of Lincoln's ghost were frequently reported during the long administration of Franklin D. Roosevelt, who also presided over his country during a time of great upheaval. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt used the Lincoln bedroom as her study and said she would feel his presence when she worked here late at night. During her visit to the White House, Queen Wilhelmina of the Netherlands heard a knock on her bedroom door in the night. When she answered it, she reportedly saw Lincoln's ghost wearing his top hat and fainted dead away.
Oh, I would.
Yeah. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who visited the White House more than once during World War II, told a story of emerging naked from his evening bath, smoking his customary cigar, only to find a ghostly Lincoln sitting by the fireplace in his room.
Well, that would be wicked. Naked as a jaybird smoking a cigar.
Goddamn ghost looking at my wiener.
Yep. Lincoln looking at your wiener.
Oh, my goodness. When Lillian Rogers Parks, the seamstress, once investigated the sound of someone pacing in the upper level of the White House, another staff member told her the room in question has been occupied, and that was old Abe pacing the floor. Psychics have speculated that Lincoln's spirit remains in the White House to be on hand in times of crisis, as well as to complete the difficult work that his untimely death left unfinished. That's kind of interesting.
That's wicked.
Let's see what else we got here. That was off of history.
So the show is Demons. They're saying that the demons were created because of the seances.
Right.
Where she was trying to get in touch with her 11-year-old son that died in the train crash.
His
face
has
was destroyed.
A 2-paragraph article.
What?
The White House, President George W. Bush. This is George W. Bush White House Archives.gov.
So, yes, there's ghosts in the White House, period.
Americans have long enjoyed telling ghost stories. From the ghost of Abigail Adams doing her laundry to the spirit of Dolly Madison overlooking the Rose Garden, the White House has its own legends of ghost stories that have been passed down over the years. Members of the staff who have worked in the White House for many years recently shared some of their stories of strange noises in the White House, sightings of President Abraham Lincoln's ghost, and a Halloween prank by President Carter's daughter. Period. That's it. Well, fuck you.
I think we're going to run into the same stuff.
10 White House ghost stories that will send a chill down your spine. Maybe. We probably will. But,
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, Abigail Adams, President Lincoln.
Yeah, I'm just curious why he has a top hat. Why is he in like full regalia with a top hat?
That was back in the day, man. That was like
so you were proper
his
and
favorite
you
hat.
Had your hat on all the time.
Yeah.
So if you had bad hair, you just put your hat on.
Yeah. So there's reported sightings of the ghost of Lincoln's son Willie, who died when he was 12. He died of typhoid fever in 1862.
Yep.
In the 1870s, the staff of President Ulysses S. Grant said they saw his ghost in the White House. Andrew Jackson, William Henry Harrison, who was the first president to die in the White House, was said to haunt the attic, which is now the 3rd floor. Harrison was president for just 31 days before his death in 1841. 31 days. He was only president for a month.
Yeah, just a day over a month.
But apparently what happened, from what the stories say, is he got sick during his inauguration address, and he got pneumonia, and he died from that.
So he got something from somebody?
Yeah.
Dang.
He got COVID.
He did.
He died of COVID complications
He was the first
in
COVID.
1841.
That's what his death certificate says.
His ghost is said to have been heard moving around the attic of the White House. In 1927, the attic was renovated and turned into an expansion of the executive residence.
Why would you be in the attic is my question.
Well, that's probably why they hear him, because they fucking move shit around.
So they put all of his stuff up in the attic.
Maybe he liked it up there.
Maybe he was just attached to a bed or
I don't know.
something.
Talking about, let's see, in 1946, he wrote Bess another letter. This is about Truman. After he heard a knock on his bedroom door, but no one was there. He jumped up and put on my bathrobe, opened the door, and no one was there, he wrote. Went out and looked up and down the hall, looked in your room and Margie's. Still no one. Went back to bed after locking the doors, and there were footsteps in your room, whose door I'd left open. Jumped and looked, and no one there. The damn place is haunted, sure as shooting. Secret Service said not even a watchman was up here at that hour. You and Margie had better come back and protect me before some of these ghosts carry me off. Well, that's funny.
Or it carries me off. Sure shooting.
When President Ronald Reagan's dog Rex began barking at the doorway of the Lincoln bedroom, he suspected a ghostly visitor. In 1986, state dinner, Reagan told the guests that Rex had barked at the entrance to the Lincoln bedroom and refused to go inside. Reagan's daughter and son-in-law also reported seeing ghostly figures in the bedroom.
Creepy.
President George W. Bush's daughters, Jenna and Barbara, heard opera singing and 1920s piano music coming out of a fireplace in their bedroom.
When she's on the Today Show, she was talking about it.
Yeah.
How that's absolutely haunted.
We knew that if any place was haunted, it was this house. But we tried to rationalize it, Jenna wrote in her 2017 memoir with Barbara, Sisters First. When White House butler Buddy Carter asked the girls how they slept, they told him about the mysterious singing and music that they heard. Oh, Miss Jenna, I believe you. You wouldn't believe what I have seen and heard over the years. Buddy hasn't yet told me his ghost stories, but I keep hoping. First Lady Michelle Obama said that she and President Barack Obama once heard noises coming from the hallway outside their room. She also said that family members felt an odd sensation as if someone was gnawing at their feet.
Ew.
Perhaps the ghost of a White House pet.
Chew on your feet?
Chewing on your nubs.
Gross.
Fucking crazy, dude. Dolly Madison. See, right here. What did I tell you? See, look at that. I was right. The British fire starter. The most traumatic incident in White House history was its destruction by British troops in 1814. A royal soldier apparently died in the attack after he helped to set fire to the White House, and there are reports he occasionally returns to finish the job. One incident was reported a few years after the Truman-era restoration, where the spirit was seen trying to set a bed on fire.
Dude.
Could you imagine being a ghost and be like, how come this fucking bed won't light up? What the hell's going on? I got a fucking perfectly lit torch. I can't light a fucking bed on fire? No, sir, because you are dead. Also, there was a major fire in the West Wing during the Hoover administration on Christmas Eve in 1929. Officially, it was a clogged fireplace flue that started the blaze. What if it was the ghost?
What if it was a ghost?
Maybe he closed the fireplace flue.
He was in the freaking... Yeah,
I'm in the flue!
He plugged himself in there.
Yeah. I'm in the flue! I'm gonna burn this house down.
It's clogged with the British
people
man.
don't. He must have been a Southern British man.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna burn this house down.
It's not British. British? We already know we're British.
British. Even today, recent White House staffers reported hearing strange noises late at night in the White House, but there's one president who probably hasn't come back for a guest appearance. James Buchanan, openly tired of being president as the Civil War grew near. If you are as happy in entering the White House as I shall feel on returning to Wheatland, you are a happy man indeed, Buchanan said just before leaving office in 1861.
He said, I'm out of here.
Dude, screw you guys, I'm going home. Talking about Civil War is where I draw the line. Oh my goodness. So this is a little bit more elaboration on Winston Churchill's story, that he came out the bath with his man parts hanging out, and He's this is funny, dude. Oh, I got to read the whole thing now.
Yeah.
One night in the 1940s, according to a well-known story, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill was kicking back at the White House. He had just emerged from a hot bath to stroll into the adjoining bedroom, naked and smoking a cigar, because that's the only way to be.
Yeah, drying your bits.
But it turned out he had a surprise visitor leaning against the fireplace mantel. Abraham Lincoln, or rather his ghost. Churchill didn't miss a beat. Tapping the ash off his cigar, he said, "Good evening, Mr. President. You seem to have met me at a disadvantage."
Adorable.
Lincoln smiled,
Ah,
then disappeared.
adorable.
Churchill, who didn't rattle easily, nonetheless refused to sleep in that bedroom ever again. Dude, how fucking
That's
how
awesome.
suave do you have to be?
Abraham Lincoln smiles.
How you doing, Mr. President? You have me at a disadvantage.
me
You're
at a
looking at my
disadvantage.
ball sack. And then Lincoln smiles. I bet Lincoln
How do
would
you
have
make
liked
a ghost
Churchill.
smile, you know?
Yeah. I bet Lincoln would have liked Churchill.
Obviously.
Churchill was a funny guy, man.
Obviously he did. Made him smile in death.
Yeah. It's fucking cool, man.
That's cool.
Andrew
You
Jackson.
caught me at a disadvantage.
Yeah. In the 1860s, President Jefferson was heard playing his violin in the Yellow Oval Room, prompting President Lincoln's wife, Mary Todd, to once marvel to a friend, my, how that Mr. Jefferson does play that violin.
Aw, plays it good.
How trippy would that be, dude?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, okay, so we have to see if we can get into the White House to ghost
Oh,
hunt.
my God. We'd probably have to get security clearances and all that other shit.
I mean, my background check would come up clear.
That's Annie Serrat. That's Mary Serrat's. Oh, mine would too, but that's Mary Serrat's daughter.
That's the daughter.
Yeah. She was
That
a
would be cool, though.
homely looking girl. In 1865, Mary Serrat was convicted of conspiring to assassinate President Lincoln and sentenced to death. Her daughter Annie pleaded repeatedly for her mother's life, and even after Mary was hanged and Annie was long gone, Annie's ghost reportedly continues to knock on doors throughout the White House, pleading for her mother's release.
Probably because her mama didn't do anything.
No, her mama did something. That leads me to believe that maybe her mama didn't go where she thought she was going to go. She probably went to the bad places.
So she didn't. She stayed here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Annie stayed here.
She ended up staying here just on the fact that she wanted to save her mom's life, and she's like
So that was
eternally
her
trapped
unfinished
now.
business.
So she's like one of those residual haunts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
She probably it just happens all the time.
But that much emotion
Mm-hmm.
at that moment, and you're releasing it onto the doors of the White House. It just sticks, I guess.
Yep.
And there's a lot of ghosts in the White House.
Yeah. These are all the same ones they keep talking about, though.
Yeah.
There's
I wish they
random
would
sightings.
elaborate on each one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
The
I do.
north portico entrance of the White House is noted for its ghosts, including a British soldier wielding a torch who is often seen just outside its door. People also sometimes report seeing dead White House doormen still on duty. One of the eeriest ghosts is that of Anna Serrat, whose mother Mary was hanged in 1865 for her part in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. Anne's ghost has been seen pounding on the door of the White House begging for her mother's release, and it's said that every July 7th, Anne's ghost sits on the White House's front steps. That's
Ooh.
the anniversary of her mother's execution.
Dude.
I mean, dude, if that's true, you could get like a really good zoom lens and sit right outside
And
the
just
gate
video it.
and just video
Night vision video
and see
it.
if you could get a sighting of Anne Surratt's ghost. Fucking trippy.
That would be
man.
wild. Yeah, we need to make it a point to see if we can get. I mean, how many views would we get if we had the ghost hunt at the White House?
Dude,
7
we'd
million.
be famous.
We'd be famous.
We'd be super famous.
We might have our own show then. Wait, we do have our own show. Wait, let me back up. It might be monetized then. Maybe we'll get some cashola.
Right.
We do it for free right now because we enjoy it. We'd like to do it full time.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So that's why we need y'all to
That'd be
Patreon
awesome.
or
Because if we could
tell
do
somebody
it,
that has
like,
a studio that, can pick us up. That would
do-
be cool.
Yeah, it would be way cool. Be way cool. I wonder if these ghosts have a security clearance.
Nope.
They shouldn't be in the White House then.
They live there.
It seems like the only ones they keep talking about are the same ones. Andrew Jackson, Mary Todd Lincoln,
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln,
Yeah. Abe.
Calvin Coolidge, Grace. Fuck, man. There really isn't much more left. So now we've talked about ghosts in the White House, but Dawn watched that show about demons in the White House. And we found that kind of interesting. And like I said, I wish I would have stayed awake to see it. I'll probably watch it after this because I should know these things.
You like history. You're like into all that stuff.
Fucking
And that's
love history.
a huge vein of what,
Right.
what's happened there.
So this is off of veteranstoday.com, and it talks about paranormal investigators believe there's a demon in the White House. Daily Beast says, how do we draw that line of what's real and what's not? Asks one of the many paranormal experts and authors featured in Shock Doc's Demon in the White House. When it comes to this Discovery Plus special, the answer is easy. So yeah, it's on Discovery Plus. If you guys have that, look it up. Demon in the White House. Shock Docs is what it's called or whatever. But it's it came out on November 26th. It's pretty cool. But it says, according to the Talking Heads participating in director Brooke Linder's documentary, this makes sense because no residence is as secretive as the White House, and secretive places are obviously hotbeds of paranormal activity. Moreover, we should all be immensely spooked because demons are intent on manipulating the living, and thus there might be no graver danger faced by America than an evil spirit getting its hooks into a president. It is, in fact, a matter of national security.
Yeah, because you think about it, if there is a demon in the White House, that demon is affecting every decision. So all we'd have to do is be where they make the decisions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you are usually weak-minded when you're going in because you're making a huge decision.
Right.
And that stress opens the door to things to come in.
Absolutely. Our long ghostly nightmare supposedly began in 1853 when Franklin Pierce became the 14th president of the United States. Mere weeks after Pierce won the election, his son Benny died during a horrible train derailment. I got that far in the show, and it was fucking horrible the way they described it. His face got smashed in.
Yep.
And he was young. The tragedy rocked the Pierce clan, and especially Pierce's wife Jane, a quote-unquote melancholy woman who'd been raised as a strict Calvinist by her preacher father. Jane responded to this loss by writing letters to Benny. According to Demon in the White House, she also enlisted the services of the Fox sisters, who had become renowned as pioneering spiritualists capable of communing with the dead through seances. Before long, those in the White House came to claim that Jane could be heard talking to her deceased boy. So, Franklin Pierce, the 14th President of the United States, he was... this was way before the Civil War. Not way. It was about 10 years before the Civil War. He basically fucked up and kind of helped propagate what would be the Civil War.
He started the Civil War.
You know, in a sense he did. By pursuing the recommendations of Southern advisors, Pierce, a New Englander, hoped to prevent still another outbreak of that storm, but his policies, far from preserving calm, hastened the disruption of the Union.
Yep.
He did a lot of stupid shit. He was born in New Hampshire. He attended Bowdoin College. You know where that is? Mm-mm. That's from where I live. That's up in Brunswick, Maine.
Oh, cool.
He studied law after graduating and entered politics. At 24, he was elected to the New Hampshire legislature. 2 years later, became its speaker. During the 1830s, he went to Washington, first as a representative, then as a senator. Served in the Mexican War. Was proposed by New Hampshire Friends for the presidential nomination in 1852. At the Democratic Convention, the delegates agreed easily enough upon platform pledging undeviating support of the Compromise of 1850 and hostility to any efforts to agitate the slavery question. The Compromise of 1850 was, if I remember correctly, without looking it up, the states could decide whether they wanted to have slavery or not.
Yes.
So there was a lot of problems going on in the West, in Missouri and Kansas and stuff like that, because these states, some part of the state wanted slavery, the other part didn't.
Right.
So there was actual shooting fights going on over the issue of slavery. This guy should have never fucking signed that.
So what he said what they were saying in there is that the reason why he signed it is because the South would not have been financially stable.
Right.
If we would have done away from slavery, because the South is ingrained. All of the slaves did all the work. Right. They did the cotton. They did all the corn. They did everything. So his thought process is, I don't want to debilitate any states.
Right.
So if I sign this bill, it'll make it even playing ground. But it didn't. It just started the Civil War.
And that's basically what.
But that wasn't what he was planning. His was that he didn't want to make the South financially ruined.
Which technically they were already starting to veer away from slavery because there were. When did the cotton gin get invented? Because that was a big thing. That was one of the big things. I don't know. I don't know a lot of it, but the most violent renewal of the storm stemmed from the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which is that repealed the Missouri Compromise and reopened the question of slavery in the West. So Stephen Douglas grew in part. Stephen Douglas was a senator. He's the one that actually created the Kansas-Nebraska Act, and it grew in part of his desire to promote a railroad from Chicago to California through Nebraska. Secretary of War Jefferson Davis, advocate of a southern transcontinental road, had persuaded Pierce to send James Gadsden to Mexico to buy land for a southern railroad. He purchased the new area comprising southern Arizona and part of southern New Mexico for $10 million. Douglas's proposal to organize western territories through which a railroad might run caused extreme trouble. Douglas provided in his bills that the residents of the new territories could decide the slavery question for themselves. The result was a rush into Kansas as Southerners and Northerners vied for control of the territory. Shooting broke out, and Bleeding Kansas became a prelude to the Civil War.
Right, that's what he's known for
right.
Bleeding Canvas, right.
By the end of his administration, Pierce could claim a quote-unquote peaceful condition of things in Kansas. But to his disappointment, the Democrats refused to renominate him, turning to the less controversial James Buchanan. Pierce returned to New Hampshire, leaving his successor to face the rising fury of the sectional whirlwind. He died in 1869. Buchanan made it worse.
Right.
And that's why Lincoln.
But what they're saying is the demon was created by his wife.
Right.
Because they had lost their child in the railroad accident. So then she had the Fox sisters, which were the ones that were famous in doing the seances at the time. So they were conjuring spirits that was supposedly her son. But what she was doing is releasing, like a Ouija board, she was releasing demons into the White House. So that they're saying some of the decisions that he made was affected by the supposed demons in the White House or whatever.
Right.
That's their thread on what they're trying to get at. That.
So the tragedy rocked the Pierce clan, and especially Pierce's wife, Jane, a melancholy woman raised by a strict Calvinist, writing letters to her son, Benny. According to Demon in the White House, she also enlisted the services of the Fox sisters, which we just said. Before long, those in the White House came to claim that Jane could be heard talking to her deceased boy. Did Jane make contact with her dead son? Who knows? Nonetheless, Demon in the White House refuses to let truth get in the way of a good yarn, heaping on dramatic recreations of Jane and the Fox sisters sitting around a table asking Benny to respond to them by knocking once for yes and two for no. In those and innumerable other sequences, a tall, dark, red-eyed demon invariably materializes in the corner of the room or directly behind an unsuspecting person. Throughout, interview subjects speculate about events and ideas which are then visualized as facts by the show. Such conjecture then builds upon itself until a bogus overarching narrative is formed that's predicated on nothing but fanciful guesswork. So I guess they didn't like the movie.
I guess that's what
This
they did.
modus operandi reaches its nadir toward the end of The Demon in the White House's passage about the Pierces. Leaping from one dubious contention to another, its reasoning goes something like this. The Pierces conducted seances in the White House. They got in touch with Benny. Then they determined that Benny was actually an evil spirit posing as the dead body. Others started to worry that the Pierces were being controlled by satanic forces. The Pierces thus hired a priest to perform an exorcism in the White House. Literally none of that is definitively verifiable, and a couple of the talking heads are careful to say that some of these things could have happened. Still, the show's dramatic recreations present them as authentic historical incidents. Demon in the White House's goofiness doesn't stop there. It forwards the notion that Pierce signed the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which heightened domestic tensions over slavery, resulting in the Bleeding Kansas violence of 1854 to 1859, under the influence of demons, thereby insinuating that the ensuing Civil War was the handiwork of Beelzebub's minions. It subsequently switches gears to concentrate on President Abraham Lincoln, who, like Pierce, lost an 11-year-old son, and whose wife, Mary Todd, became involved with a spiritualist of her own. That medium, Charles Colchester, may have predicted the president's murder before it took place, although since he has also had ties to Lincoln's assassination with John Wilkes Booth, he might have been both a fraud and a co-conspirator.
Right. What they were saying is that he got in touch with John Wilkes Booth and planted the seed that Abraham Lincoln was going to be assassinated.
Right.
And then he was. So did he set it up? Did he warn them? He was friends with John Wilkes Booth, so.
Right.
And what he would do was he would put you under. So he would hypnotize you.
Which I don't really believe much of anyway.
Right, but if you can be, then you can be controlled. So if
Right.
he hypnotized John Wilkes Booth, I mean, that's like the dormant soldiers they talk about.
I don't think John Wilkes
believe
Booth
or
really
not
needed
believe.
that much convincing, to be honest.
No, he was already a loose cannon. But if you've got somebody on the other side that's friends and says, hey, he's going to be here, this is how you're going to do it.
Right.
I've already told him that it's going to be done, and he's going anyway.
So Daily Beast continues, and just reading this while I was listening to you, yeah, they definitely don't believe this show. And I mean, I get it. I'm skeptical as well. But they definitely don't believe in this. It says, everything in the Demon in the White House is either absurdly overstated. The most amazing ghost photograph ever taken is how one snapshot is defined, or described with the dullest sort of platitude imaginable. There's nothing worse than when your kid is sick and you feel helpless, opines one writer. At the same time, director Linder embellishes the proceedings with ceaseless cornball dramatic recreations, scary book illustrations, and jolting edits. Plentiful mentions of Civil War carnage and subsequent national calamities, be it JFK's assassination, Vietnam, or 9/11, are included in order to further amplify the overarching deathly mood. Alas, it will not surprise anyone to hear that those events were not orchestrated by the king of the underworld, regardless of Demon in the White House's implications to the contrary. Save perhaps for Michelle Gullion, director of research at the National First Ladies Library, who's brought on to relay basics about the president's wives, there isn't a persuasively reputable speaker to be found in Demon in the White House. The nominal difference between a paranormal expert and a quote-unquote paranormal investigator escapes me, but less difficult to grasp is the transparent spuriousness of this entire endeavor. So weak is the case made by Linder's special that it confines itself almost exclusively to the 19th century, which it renders as some bygone era of shadowy, pseudo-Gothic malevolence. As for the present, a few images of Reagan, Clinton, and Biden suffice, along with a 15-second video clip of George W. Bush's daughter, Jenna, causing her Today co-host Hoda Kotb's jaw to drop by claiming that she had a ghostly encounter during her time in the White House via a ringing phone in the middle of the night and the sound of 1920s music emanating from her bedroom fireplace. If that's all Jenna and the Demon in the White House has in terms of proof of Oval Office unholiness, I'd say that's less than an evidence W had for the existence of WMDs. That may not stop true believers from buying what this Discovery Plus affair is selling, but it's certainly unlikely to win many new converts.
He is not like this movie at all.
Apparently not. Which is fine. Everybody has their opinion.
Yeah, they have their own opinion.
But
I think it's cool to... I like to learn that way.
True,
even if it's not true, I just learned a crap ton about the presidents.
Right.
That I probably was taught but didn't remember, so...
Right. This is actually from Discovery Plus. This is actually like the... What would you say? This is like the synopsis of...
Yeah.
Okay, so this says the seat of power at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue may be the most haunted site in the world. Yeah. President Franklin Pierce and First Lady Jane Pierce lost their son Benjamin at age 11. President Abraham Lincoln and First Lady Mary Todd's son William died at the same age. No, he died at 12. Both children perished during the father's administration. The shock doc thriller opens archival papers, correspondence, and diaries to document a timeline of supernatural events that unfolded after these grieving families sought solace in the fashionable new spiritualism and seance movement, and the potential catastrophic consequences that followed. Now, the guy in the other review there neglected to say that back in those days and in those 19th century things, that shit was fucking massive.
Yeah, they did it all the time.
Because there was a lot of that was kind of like, it wasn't called Wicca then, but it was kind of like there was a whole renaissance about that.
Yeah.
Aleister Crowley was around during that time, if I remember correctly.
Well, they were saying the Civil War
Right.
Brothers losing brothers, moms losing both sons, and
right.
then just trying to
and people
talk to
wanting
them one
to
more
get some
time.
type of validation
Right.
or closure. So of course they're going to look at spiritualistic shit.
Right.
Because it could be the and of course a lot of people still believed in that stuff.
Yeah, it was huge. You did seances every weekend.
Right. Which, I mean, there is no proof that there's a demon in there, but there's also fucking speculation that there could be if you're doing all those seances and you're not closing shit right.
So we're talking about like energy and projection and stuff like that. So what that does is it invokes a poltergeist. So it may not be a demon. All the negative energy balled up together could be a poltergeist in the house.
Dude, look at the experiment that Amy and Adam did on that show. With,
right.
Kindred Spirits, where they came up with a whole backstory for a ghost.
Right.
And actually completely added energy to it.
Yep.
To the point where even their psychic...
The psychic...
was reading
saying what they had just created.
Right. Which they had not given him any information on. And it was a complete fabrication.
But it was already a poltergeist that people were saying was there. It was the little boy in the mirror.
So if you give something enough energy, it's going to manifest itself regardless of what it is.
Right. So why would there not be one in the White House, which that is the number one most hated? It may not be you, but it's like groups.
But it's also fascinating to think about
and countries that hate us.
That leads to a whole other tangent about being able to manifest things like that. What does that say about our connection to the universe? You know what I mean?
You can create a tulpa. A tulpa is an entity outside of who you are.
Right.
So why would you not be able to create this?
Barely tapping into our potential when it comes to spiritualism and stuff like that. Yeah,
we don't know.
That's the stuff that's fascinating, whether you believe it or not. There's enough evidence out there to show shit can be manifested just by thinking about it.
So if I was the president, I wouldn't want to move into the White House because of all that negativity and hatred that's coming at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just build me a mother-in-law suite out back or something.
I'll live in the Rose Garden with Dolly Madison.
Exactly. I'll make me a she shed out there. I'm living in the she shed with Dolly Madison.
So
that's my point. Like you're living in that energy. You know what's come before you. You know what's happened in the previous presidencies because of all of the turmoil that we've had through
the
decades
of the whole
and centuries.
Country.
Right. It's powerful. The amount of energy that's put into how you feel about the White House, how you feel about the president, how you feel about what's going on, whether it be Congress or the Senate or your mayor. You think of the White House. You think this is the pinnacle that's supposed to protect us, and we're not. So where's your energy going to go? You got to blame somebody. You're going to think about the White House. You're going to project it onto the White House.
It's a powerful house. I mean, that's like massive world decisions were made there.
Right.
So there's easily enough energy, whether it be positive or negative, to manifest in there to cause a whole bunch of weird shit. Now, I do believe that there are ghosts there. I mean, there's no way you can say there isn't, man. Come on.
No, that's probably one of the funnest places.
Absolutely.
If I have a spectacular garden, like I'm sure she had, with roses and just she could do whatever she wanted to do, that's probably would be my happy place too.
Dude, if I lived in the White House, I would leave my drawers laying on the floor and see if Abigail Adams would come wash them.
She probably would. It looks like that's what she does with the lavender soap.
And then my drawers would smell lavender fresh.
Smell very lavendery fresh.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
Very, very purpley pretty.
So there's a paragraph in here that basically kind of hits home the whole idea that it is believed that renovating a building can stir up ghostly activity. That has been proven many times when people do stuff. Like they'll buy an old house and then they'll renovate it.
Everything.
And then shit starts happening.
Yep.
So when the White House was being gutted, Truman hired National Park Service photographer Abby Rowe to document this historic process. One ordinary photo shows a bulldozer and three men standing in a corner. On the other side of the frame is a figure that appears transparent. The three men standing at the same distance are obviously solid. Their shirts and ties are identifiable. And the other figure has no discernible articles of clothing. This enigmatic photo may be the first documented ghost photo at the White House.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool photo.
Well, I mean, that could be the naked ghost that they talk about.
I think it's the...
They don't talk about a naked ghost. I was just being a shitbird.
I think it was Abraham Lincoln that was It's under his where
Abraham
his bedroom used to be.
Naked outside in the yard?
No, it was just a man standing there. You could see through him.
There's a man standing there.
Looking like a man.
He looking like a man. Got no clothes. I'm gonna write a new song.
No, see, you messed it up. That he was the ghost wasn't naked.
Well, he just said he had no discernible clothing.
You could see that he had clothes on the ghost picture.
Dude, what if you saw a naked ghost? What would you do?
Nothing.
Would you be like, damn, look at the balls on the set of balls on that ghost?
No, I said, look, it's a baby bird. It's so cute.
It look like a baby bird in a nest.
Bird. So cute.
Oh, mama bird.
Look at his little eggs. Sitting on the eggs.
Oh, my goodness.
Look how cute.
Oh, so cute.
Oh, my God.
That's gross.
You asked me what I would say.
That's gross.
You asked me what I would say. That's what I would say.
Good Lord. There's something wrong with you, Dawn.
We already know this.
It's just not right in the head.
Well, that's debatable.
I would like to know if there's any ghosts of the dogs that lived in the White House. That would be awesome.
That one said that it was biting on their feet.
That could be fucking Franklin Pierce's kid.
That could be, or it could be Abraham Lincoln.
Or Abraham
Maybe
Lincoln.
He's a foot fetish because he's so tall.
He's a footophile.
What? Oh. Blow it out. Look at that.
He's a footophile. What are they? It's not pedophile because that's something different. But there's a word for that. You
just have a foot fetish.
Yeah, but there's a word for. Now I'm gonna look it up. Dude, we have totally gone on a tangent now.
This is why you listen.
What is the definition
of foot fetish?
Of a foot fetish.
So it wasn't the dog chewing on its feet. It was Abraham Lincoln.
Podophilia.
What?
Podophile.
Pedo.
Podophilia. Not pedophilia. That's little kids.
It's just confused with pedophilia. Podophilia.
Your
feet
Sexual
aren't pods.
Interest in feet.
So you don't think it was the dog chewing on the feet?
No.
You think it was a man chewing on the feet?
Yeah, it was a man. It was Abraham Lincoln, from what you're saying.
Biting at your legs? No, I'm just thinking he's a very tall man. Maybe he liked foundation.
Okay, so now I'm looking at this shit.
Why are you looking at?
I am totally fucking reading some of this. Some researchers have hypothesized that
we were talking about dogs in the White House.
Fetishism increases as a response to epidemics of sexually transmitted diseases. In one study conducted by James Giannini at Ohio State University, an increased interest in feet as sexual objects was observed during the Great Gonorrhea epidemic of 12th century Europe and the syphilis epidemics of the 16th
So they're
and 19th
associating
centuries.
sexually transmitted diseases with
so
podophilia?
If you got the gonorrheas or the syphili,
no,
then you like feet.
That's not right.
In the same study, the frequency of foot fetish depictions in pornographic literature was measured over a 30-year interval. An exponential increase was noted during the period of the current AIDS epidemic.
Oh, my God.
In these
You're
cases,
stretching it. Look.
Sexual foot play was
why are you
viewed
reading
as
Wikipedia?
A safe sex alternative.
Why are you looking at Wikipedia?
Because
you can write
up.
anything. No, somebody wrote this on here.
I agree with you.
So they're associating gonorrhea and AIDS and syphilis.
I totally agree with you. However, the researchers noted that these epidemics overlap periods of relative female emancipation.
Yeah, take your fucking shoes off. Look, you're going to see my toes.
Ew!
That's like removing your pantaloons. You got to see some knees. Knees were attractive.
I'm a podophobe.
What is
I'm a knee fetish?
Knee fetish.
I'm a podophobe.
Knee fetish.
I do not like feet. I do
would
not
that
like
be
them, Sam. I am.
Knee. Patellophilia.
Fetish. I can't spell knees. Wow, we went from ghosts to fucking fetishes. Let's see.
Okay, so the shorter your skirts got, because they would wear them all the way to the floor. So when you didn't have shoes on or your skirts got shorter, it was your knees.
Finding one's knees so irresistibly and sexually attractive to be turned on by one's kneecap and have desire to fondle with it may lead to sexual intercourse. There should be a warning label on knees. Caution, may lead to sexual intercourse.
That's the Urban Dictionary. Man, we went a rabbit hole that time.
Fuck yeah, Wikipedia says
leg fetish. Fetishism.
Crurophilia.
Cruro. Crurophila.
Crurophilia.
Wow.
I don't know. Wow. I think it's just the way some chicks' legs look when they wear specific clothing.
Or when they cross them.
Sexy.
Gotcha.
Sexy.
Nice. We end with legophilia.
Yeah. We start with ghosts, go to demons, and then go to fucking fetishes. Sounds about right.
Welcome to the podcast, baby.
If you're first time listening, that shit's normal.
Welcome home. You like it. You know you love it.
Send us an email at thedeadtimeradio@gmail.com. Go to our website, thedeadtimeradioshow.com. Click on the Patreon button, become a Patreon, and we will talk to you again soon.
Love ya.